Niall, what's poppin'?
Hello, EJ. What's going on?
I am so glad that you're here. How
Me
are
too.
you?
It's good to be back.
How's
It's
everything?
Good. Everything is good. I'm finished the album. Finally, I'm ready to go. It's good to be back. It's just I've spent so many times over the last year going to gigs, and watching award shows, watching TV performances, and my overriding feeling is jealousy.
Was it really?
Yeah, I just get me back there because that's where I want to be.
Was it jealousy because you're like, man, I can do that too. I want to do that too. I
Yeah.
want to feel what that person is on stage feeling.
Yeah, I know what they're feeling. I know how it feels to be on the biggest award show or the biggest stage or the biggest TV moment, or I went to loads of festivals last summer, and it's just oh God, I'd do anything to be up there.
Is it really a drug being on stage and you
Yeah.
feel it is?
For me, it is, yeah, 100%. I feel most comfortable on the bigger the stage, the bigger the venue, the better the show in my eyes. I like the intimate gigs sometimes when I have my little acoustic thing, but the bigger the gig, the better it is.
Why do you feel that that's the case?
I don't know. I feel like I've just had so many big moments in my life in that situation, and now I don't want it to dwindle.
Right.
So I just some big stadium moments and big arena moments with the show and the band and the crowd just having the night of their lives. I love that feeling.
Can you tell me the feeling all right, you're on stage, you're performing, right? The audience is digging the show, and you can see that the audience is having such a great time, right? And they are singing your words back at you.
That's crazy.
As an artist, how does that feel?
It's nuts, especially because it's the most cliched thing that the artists say, I think. It's there's nothing better than standing on stage and hearing your lyrics sung back to you, but there's honestly not, because when you think back to how those songs start, they start somewhere. And
journey.
It's usually just 4 chords on a guitar, and then me just going, la da da na 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 na. And then all of a sudden, a year later, you're in a big stage somewhere, and they're singing back, and you're thinking about where you were when you started writing that or whatever. It's crazy. I've never gotten used to that. 13 years later, I've always found that a crazy feeling.
I would think that would be the most trippy part. Just the journey that the song takes. You're in your room or wherever you're writing the song. You go to the studio, you record said song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you put the song out on streaming your album,
Yep.
and then you're out on stage performing said song, and the people are singing the song back to you. Just the journey that song takes.
Do you know what was nuts, actually? I've had a big moment recently where I was at The Voice, and in between, performances or whatever, you stand up out your chair, you and the crowd are all there, and this was when I just released the original sound online, 30 seconds of Heaven. And after a day, I walk back in, we shoot one day, they haven't got it. The next day I walk in, they've got it. And they're all singing the chorus to me as I walk into the studio. I was like, oh my God, this
That
is
quickly.
that was just oh Christ. That's that feeling again. I missed that. People singing it to you in those scenarios. It's really cool, especially after 12 hours of it being out. I just found it pretty nuts.
Yeah, just think about how many times those people were listening to the song. The fact that they were able to sing that chorus back to
The
you.
whole thing.
Right.
It was nuts. And all the time now, the people at The Voice play Heaven in the studio, and they're all up singing along. It's good fun.
They're rocking out.
Yeah.
All right, so the album's done. How do we feel being as though that the album's done, it's completed? What's the deal?
It feels good.
Does it?
Yeah. It took a while to get going because of the pandemic. I wanted to work with John Ryan and Joel Little. I couldn't leave the UK for a long time. John Ryan's based here in LA. Joel Little lives in New Zealand. And New Zealand was the last country on the planet to open its doors.
Right.
So he would have to make crazy trips where he would come up to LA for 2 weeks, go back to LA or go back to Auckland in New Zealand and stay in a hotel for 2 weeks. So a 2-week trip means a month
right.
of leaving 3 kids. And he basically had an 18-month-old kid at the time. So he was
And now the kid's probably, 27?
yeah.
Right.
The kid's got a degree. So smart. The doctor. But it's that's why it kind of took a little bit longer. Because I was writing bits. And I was writing, making little things, making little demos. And I had probably a third of the record done before I even got in a room with anyone. It was more about that vibe that you my living room got vibeless after 2 weeks of the pandemic. So the thought of trying to create in there was just like, ugh, do I have to? And then it just came a moment where I just sat down and started playing, and then it was just steamrolling from there. New Zealand opened up. I was able to come back to the States, and then that's when it all kind of came back together. Probably the guts of a year, by the time that was happening. I just wanted to get everything right. There's no point disappearing for 3 years and then coming back with a big pile of steaming poo.
Right. Because then people, and the one thing about social media, which I love and I hate, you will get instant, I guess, reaction from the listeners.
Good and bad.
Right. Do you believe it though? Like,
yeah, you have to. It's the people have the power.
I know.
And you have to, and I prefer it that way. If you're good or you're bad. If the fans tell you you're good or you're bad. But yeah, the reaction to Heaven has been nuts. I wasn't expecting it at all. It's just like, I knew that it was a melodic song and people would sing along to it, but I wasn't expecting this. It's just like, it's been nuts since we released it. All the streams, all the radios, ads, and all the good stuff is coming together nice and quick. But hopefully it sticks around. You want longevity. You don't want to. As an album artist, I don't want a flash in the pan tune that kind of disappears. I'm here for the long run, hopefully, and I'll know pretty quick, as you say, if I'm not.
Yeah, those fans will be like, this wasn't it.
On to the next one.
Right, but has there ever been a situation where you put your heart and soul in a song, right? You put it out, or just tease it, and people are like, "Oh man, this is not it," or you let other people listen to it. Do you ever like veto those people and say, "You know what? I'm gonna put it out anyway because I know that this is a good song."
It depends what else you've got.
Okay,
if you've got nothing to back it up with, you go with it. But no, but like I've definitely had written songs. I won't name because that's just sad. But I've definitely written songs that I thought this is the one. Or I've definitely also on the other side, I've definitely written songs where I've been like, this is terrible, and then it's just gone bang, and it's done well. Like sometimes my judgment's not like I've got a fair idea, but there's definitely been ones where I've been like, that's the one, and then it's just gone tumbleweed.
Like, right. You know what's interesting? I feel like as an artist, artists that come in, I feel like you hear a lot of stories of, man, this song's terrible. This song's not going to do well. I'm just putting it out because of whatever. And it's always the song that ends up being massive.
That's the thing these days. Like, even record labels, and management companies and agents are just kind of like, everyone thinks they know what's going on, but fans have more power than ever.
Yeah.
Like, they are the ones that are going, this is going to be a hit. This is not a hit. You see like you see the whole, you're handing a song, you're like, it's great. Let's put it out there, and then the fans decide what's big these days. I mean, look at like how a song in a TV show is like making, like, think about the Kate Bush thing.
Yes,
like
37 years later,
and there she is having it's probably bigger now than it was when it was then. They're deciding what's going on, and I'm all for it because they're the ones that have to buy the tickets and buy the merch and buy the singles. They're my people. I want that reaction off them.
For reference, she made $2.6 million from that song 37 years later.
Wow. Good for her. But she knows it's a hit when it comes back around.
Before we go, do me a favor for anyone that's been under a rock and hasn't heard Heaven yet.
Yes.
Describe that for those people.
Yeah. Heaven is kind of came about 3/4 of the way through the record. And at that point we'd had an idea of what the record was sounding like. So it was kind of, once we got the basics down and wrote a good song, we knew how to dress it up. Heaven kind of comes from that idea of like societal pressure, and kind of, we all have it, no matter what age group. It could be joining high school. It could be, trying to make friends and doing that because you think that's the right thing to do, or getting married at that age, or going to college and getting your degree done by that, and buying a house at that age, and having a mortgage, and some people feel that if they don't hit those certain points because of what's going on around them, that they've like failed by a certain age or whatever. And I've just always been one of those people that kind of live for the moment, I guess, for the want of a better phrase. But just kind of, we're all doing our own thing. I think we're seeing that more and more these days. Live your life. be worrying about everyone else's.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what heaven is basically about to me.
Niall, it was a pleasure.
Oh, what a lovely person you are.
No, you're
Thank
lovely.
you.
I appreciate that.
No, you're lovely.
No.
You hang up.
No, you hang up.
No.
You know what?
All right, bye.
A little bit of me is dying inside because I'm one of those people who can't take a compliment. So it's like, oh my gosh, try not to be awkward because you just complimented me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been doing these things recently, like these like playbacks to like like the Apples and the Spotifys of the world and the Amazons and the radio people, and you have to like sit there and play some songs from the record to them, like all these executives and radio pluggers and things, and I'm just like, I can't actually be in the room, guys.
Yeah,
like,
to listen to it back.
Like watching you watch me listen to my music, you like sitting there bobbing your head like you enjoy it, and I just find it really hard. I compare it to like having someone sing happy birthday to you for for half an hour.
So, wait, right quick. So what do you do in that situation? Do you just play on your phone, or are you just like scoping the room? Like,
no, we're in the studio, and I'm like, guys, I'm going to explain exactly how I made the album, who I made it with, what the songs are about, what you're about to hear, but I'm not going to be in the room when you listen to it because I find it so awkward. And some people are like, actually, we've been to a lot of these, and the artist usually sits there like looking at us. What do you think?
Yeah, peering into their souls.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do that to you, and I'm not going to do that to me. So I'm out of here, and I'll come back in a few songs' time.
I'll come back. You let me know how it is.
Yeah.
Then I'll dip out again.
Exactly. So yeah, I agree with that's like what you were talking about with the compliment thing.
Absolutely.
Like that's like. Yeah. I hate it. You know when like someone sings happy birthday to you, you can't clap along, you can't sing along to your own happy birthday.
No, I get up and walk out.
Yeah, it's just horrible.
I'm not doing that. Niall, thank you.
Woo!
Appreciate it.
Thank you.